today I'm going to be showing you some 1.21 build hacks, ranging from very useful, like this fence, all the way to the most cursed build hacks ever. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be making a house using only new blocks to show you just how good these build hacks really are. This is chiseled copper, and because of this cool X design on the sides of the block, it actually makes a really nice crate if placed with some other crate looking things. And if you place these blocks in a 2x2 like this, and then place signs all around the sides, you can make an even bigger and better looking crate. You can also mix in some of the brand new copper trapdoors on the side of the crates, and you can even change the middle block to make some empty looking crates. Or we can just remove the block in the middle completely and we get a cool little animal house. I promise I'm gonna let him out, guys. If you want to make a more humane pet house, you can place some trapdoors like this, add some carpets on the bottom, and then put the new heavy core in the front, which kind of looks like a food bowl. And if you want some more food for your pet, you can place a chiseled copper like this and put a sea pickle on the top, and it kind of looks like a melon or something. We should probably just stick to the actual melon though. I don't know if I cooked with this one. You can place some copper trapdoors on top of campfires like this to make a cool looking stove, and now we can cook the melon if we want. And if you want to make a chair to sit down and have a meal, here's one chair design using the new trapdoors, and here's another. This chair is a little bit goofy. In real life it would be like 3 meters tall. Another new block coming in 1.21 is the crafter, which surprisingly has a lot of different building use. To start, you can make a stove by placing the crafter on top of some campfires, and then adding a few more kitchen details like this. And you can also use a crafter as cabinets if you place it facing this way instead. Who knew the crafter was the ultimate kitchen block? The bottom of the crafter can also be used as a roof, so I guess that makes it the third time it's used in this kitchen. And if you place it on the ground, it kind of looks like some kind of mat that is meant to keep the floor clean. Might as well just build the whole house out of crafters at this point. More household items that can be built with a crafter is this PC where the crafter is used as a monitor, or you can go all out and build a flat screen TV using 2 different angles of the crafter like this. Don't mind me, just sitting on my crafter couch watching my crafter TV. You can also place a crafter like this and then put a few seats around it to create an actual functioning game of tic-tac-toe. Okay, how am I losing to myself? And if you want to protect your house from intruders, you can use the crafter as a keypad like this. If you place a tough wall with a trapdoor on each side, and then add a crafter on top, and place a few more details like this, you can make a telephone booth looking thing like this. And if you look at this side of the crafter, it kind of looks like a face, which means you're actually able to build the crafter man like this. Now I know why we installed the security on the first door. This guy's not messing around. Coming up next, we have a few build hacks that are pretty tough. Tough bricks look kind of like stone bricks, so you can mix them together to make a nice looking pattern. Just like how chiseled tough and polished tough go together nicely if you place them on the floor. You can also use the top of chiseled tough bricks to make a really satisfying floor design like this. This is so cool, it almost looks like it's 3D. And if you take the side of regular chiseled tough and place it in a cave, it kind of looks like old transcriptions on the wall. This doesn't really work the same with chiseled tough bricks though, it kind of looks out of place. These brand new chiseled tough blocks can be used to make really nice looking pillars because of their unique designs, and if you want to make a fence out of tough walls, it actually looks really nice mixing them all together. You can even put one more block up on some parts like this, and then place a heavy core on top, and it kind of looks like a light that isn't on. If you pair the new tough walls with a few iron blocks like this, it looks like some kind of power station thing that would probably look good on top of a building or something. And I also found this robot guy you can make, which uses all the new blocks in the build, including the heavy cores for the eyes. I don't know why, but it kind of looks more like a frog than a robot. Speaking of heavy cores, the heavy core is actually a really useful block for builds. Well, it probably is for someone who actually knows how to build. But still, you can place it on top of a table like this, and it kind of looks like a mug or a thermos. And as we saw earlier, if you place it in an item frame, it kind of looks like eyes, which is especially scary if you just place it around a dark cave like this. I'd say I sure hope no one's watching me, but this is a video, so I hope you are. A mace is made from a heavy core, and it kind of looks like a utensil when it's placed on the table from earlier. And if you want to use the heavy cores as eyes without an item frame, I accidentally built this crab out of tough. You can also build this crab out of copper if you prefer your crabs to be cooked before you put eyes on them. Remember what we could have had instead of the armadillo. Now obviously our crab is pretty cursed, but there are some even more insane build hacks coming later in this video. But first we have these copper trees, which are just oak trees except the leaves are replaced with copper grates. And if you really want to 1.21ify this, you can replace the logs with a tough block block of your choice to really make this look like a 100% real tree. You can also place a bunch of water beside your tree like this, and you can even make one of these water lilies with a copper trapdoor and a coral fan on top. Why is this thing called a brain coral fan? What is Minecraft hiding from us? Whatever they're hiding is probably in these pipes, which you can make out of copper trapdoors like this, and if you want to just make a bridge out of copper trapdoors, you can do that. Not really sure if this is a build hack though, it's just a bridge. Copper grates are really useful, as since they are see-through, you can use them to make windows like this. Guys, I swear I'm not in prison. And if you want to use them for something that looks less like you committed a crime, you can make some fences by mixing them with other copper blocks as well. You can also just switch the grates out for a trapdoor for a different window design, and this also works with the fences, although it looks a lot easier for trespassers to climb them now. The copper bulb is a new block that emits light, and you know what that means? Lamps. You can make this simple lamp design using either oxidized or normal copper plus some similar colored fences like this, or if you want to be fancier, you can place some copper blocks as a base like this, put a tough wall above it here, and then add some fences on top of the wall, and finally a slab, a trapdoor, and a bulb like this. Now this is a better looking lamp than the first one. But if you want to be even fancier, you can make a double lamp like this, and honestly I think this one is a little bit too overkill. I mean, why do we even need a third lantern in the middle? And with these lamps, you're probably going to want to add a road underneath them so that they have something to actually light up. And if you want to add a sewer entrance, you can move two of the stairs so that they are facing like this, and then add some copper grates underneath to look like a cool sewer entrance. Just make sure that you don't accidentally drop your phone in it. Now it's almost time for some cursed build hacks. But first we have this copper gear which can be made using some of the new copper blocks, and if this gear is too much for you, you can shrink it down a bit like this if we remove the trapdoors. You can also place a copper block on the roof of a cave, and then place a wall and a fence underneath to make an artificial dripstone like this, and this actually comes in both colors as you can see, although the oxidized one looks more like an icicle than a dripstone. Another thing you can hang on the roof is a copper bulb like this to make another type of lamp, and if you want to build a copper staircase, you can now add some copper grates underneath the stairs, and also put some copper trapdoors on the sides for more detail. If you want to add some scary windows to your house, you can use the new trial spawners as an ominous window design like this, and this can also be used as a fence design if you have some kind of haunted mansion or something. A trial spawner can also be used as a bird cage if you right click on it with a parrot spawn egg so it traps the bird inside. Of course this is except for the fire, and the spinning, and the fact that it spawns parrots. Okay, that one was kind of bad, I'm not gonna lie. An ominous key can kind of look like a painting of a tree if you place it in an item frame on the wall of your house. And another thing that can go in an item frame is a breeze rod paired with a blaze rod, which is meant to look like the hot and cold on a water tap. Something that's less of a build hack and more of a cool trick is this wind charge launcher, which you can make by angling 4 dispensers full of wind charges towards you. Okay, I don't know how it turned infinite, but I'm not complaining. It's kind of like a trampoline now. If you place some copper bulbs like this, and then put some tuff in the middle, you can create a portal to the secret copper dimension. And now it's time to show you some absolutely cursed build hacks that should not be used ever, mainly because they're really stupid. First off, if you throw a wind charge and then use the new /tick freeze command, you can make a really cool smoke effect that you can use in your builds, although now the entire rest of the game is frozen, so this might not be that useful. You can also trap a bogged in some sand like this, and it will make it look like someone died while traveling the desert. When an armadillo rolls up into a ball, you can use this opportunity to use the armadillo as a soccer ball that you can even play with using a knockback sword like this. And a rolled up armadillo can also look like some boxes on the ground or on some shelves depending on where you place it. Just like earlier, if you put a bogged in some powdered snow, it will look like somebody died while traveling in the snow. The only problem with this one is that the bogged actually does die in the snow eventually. And finally, if you spawn a breeze in some water, it kinda looks like a jellyfish. Okay, yeah, that's enough cursed build hacks. That one was insanely stupid. This is a street drain that is built using the new copper grates as well as some tough blocks, and it's a shame that you can't waterlog the copper grates, as this would actually be really cool. And if you just place a copper bulb in the sky like this and add a lever underneath, it can look like one of those floating lanterns that are for Chinese New Year, I think. I'm probably wrong about that, don't get mad at me. You can also switch the copper bulb out for one of these frog lights like this, and then you can place either oxidized trapdoors or regular copper trapdoors on the outside for another one of these lamp designs as well. And now with these trapdoors, you can also use them as a curtain thing on the side of your windows instead of using them as windows like we did earlier. And if you want to make another lamp, like we haven't made enough already, we can place some of the new tough blocks like this, and then put a copper bulb with copper trapdoors around it like this. And another weird lamp design design I've seen is this copper bulb on top of a dragon egg with some buttons on it so you can actually turn it on and off. And somehow I forgot the fact that these new trapdoors can be used as railings on the side of like a factory upper level, and you can also place some copper grates to make a nice floor to go with the trapdoor railings as well. And we can finally make a power station using some of the blocks like this to complete our factory. For these next build hacks, I decided to go find them in the new structure, the trial chambers. And the first one is just using these copper grates as like an entry to a tunnel type of thing. You could also use these copper grates as like support beams on the roof, similar to how they are used in the structure here. And there are some really cool mixes of tough blocks used in the wall design of this structure, which isn't really a build hack, but it's still pretty useful to know. I also found out that you can actually waterlog these grates, which makes the street drain from earlier look a lot better now that I know this. And you can also build the face of a breeze like this if you ever wanted to do this, although I'm not really sure why you would. This combo of blocks looks pretty cool in the middle of a fountain, and you can use these trapdoors to make little hidden tunnels inside of your builds as well. The end of this tunnel looks pretty cool, especially with the X in the middle. It kind of looks like one of those things you have to turn to open a vault door. And probably my favorite Mojang approved build that I found is this secret room in the trial chambers, which isn't a build hack, but I just thought it was cool that I found a secret room. There's also another secret room. This is so cool. And that concludes the trial chambers build hacks. I'm honestly surprised I even found any. Now that we've seen all these different build hacks, it's time to put my skills to the test, because in the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna be building a house using only 1.21 blocks. I started by making an outline out of only copper blocks, mixing some chiseled copper and trapdoors in as well. And then I started building a wall using all different types of tuff, kinda like how they do it in the trial chambers. I then built a roof using more of these copper blocks, and once I finished the outline of the house, this is what it looked like. I'm surprised this even looks good. Next I added some windows out of the copper grates with trapdoors on the side, and I used the new tough slabs and walls to add a little bit more detail to the front of the house. We'll just pretend I did this on the other sides as well. Now let's fill in the floor with one of the tough patterns from earlier, and I'm also gonna add a staircase using the new copper grates underneath, and the trapdoors will act as railings as well. Next I decked out the bottom floor with some of the crafter build hacks from earlier, and then I built a crafter TV on the top floor like this. To finally give the outside a bit of detail, I added some copper bulb lamps like this, and then I made a road like we saw earlier so I could use this storm drain build hack. Then finally I added some detail that doesn't use 1.21 blocks, but it just makes the house look a little bit nicer overall. Yeah, I guess the 1.21 blocks are actually really useful. I somehow made a house that looks really good. Also, the different copper blocks are intentional. I definitely didn't use normal copper instead of waxed by accident.